Well, it is. I can't believe it, the stuff that I'm hearing from the family law court. I just can't see that it's not a legal offence. How can you dismiss forensic evidence? How can you discount professional evidence? That's absolutely ridiculous.
The problem is, of course, that the people who are involved become so seriously traumatized that they become literally unable to function in any way that's would effectively oppose the courts, and most people really have just given up. The reason we tried to make the Australian Anti-Pedophile Party was to get this out in open Parliament. If we were a independent candidate in a hung Parliament, we could use our single vote and get enormous leverage for that vote.
What were a couple of the things that you were planning to go in and change?
Well, mainly it was educational. We wanted to educate the people involved, because clearly people didn't understand anything about child sexual abuse. They thought it was as rare as hen's teeth. You know, if you look at the approach to child sexual abuse in this country, it's all focused around stranger danger. But stranger danger is between 2 and 5%. The police are not interested in pursuing prosecutions that are going to go nowhere, and they all go nowhere. I mean, any excuse you want, and they've just got a limitless amount of excuses. Then eventually you get it to the DPP, and they say no. You need basically a central person with integrity, and anybody who isn't getting satisfaction from judges, all of these people go straight there.
So we need a tribunal to take.
We need people with powers, dismissing powers. Okay. On the 30th of May, I was so desperate about those children that I wrote to the Minister of Child Safety, copy to the Minister of Police in Queensland, copy to the Federal Attorney General, and I introduced myself, said I'm Dr. Pridgeon. I am one of many people who sheltered in the 4 years that they were fugitive. I outed myself. Okay? I then went and gave the whole history of the abuse, the history of the failure to investigate, and everything that I felt would be helpful. And I then begged the Minister of Child Safety to intercede. I said, please rescue these children. I am begging you. The sole response to that was to block my email. I then got a phone call from one of the lackeys that said, oh, no, the Minister doesn't have the power to rescue these children. I said, please, please don't tell me that the Minister doesn't have the power to rescue these children, because it's quite obvious that you think I'm too stupid for words. I said, and I know that the Minister can do this at the stroke of a pen, and it's her duty to do so.
Duty of care? Where's duty?
And eventually, I wrote 5 letters to her, and my 5th letter, I said, Minister, you must know that your failure to act puts you in a very difficult position. I said, because of your failure to act, it makes you guilty of malfeasance, misfeasance, which then takes away your official protections as a Minister of the Crown. It makes you personally liable.
So do you have a typical scenario of what actually happens in the family court? How do these children who disclose actually end up there?
Okay, well I came down to support Dr. Pridgeon because I'm a survivor of child rape, and I live with the consequences of that, and I've never met somebody, what Dr. Pridgeon gave to those children nobody can take away, which was faith in humanity. That was something we never got. 7 institutions, hundreds of adults, cover up in an institution through the state and the nuns. It destroyed us, and what was worse than the sexual abuse was the betrayal of the adults.
As soon as the children make the disclosures, the abuser takes the children
It's advised by the solicitor
immediately to the family court. The family court is a place where child sexual abusers take refuge from the law. As soon as the matter's in the family court, the police drop the investigation. There's no reason in law that they should do so, but they do so every time. And so it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, because the abuser's solicitor stands up in court and says that Well, the police have dropped the investigation, Your Honour. Clearly there was no abuse. And that's only because
It's a standard practice that when it's a standard practice that once the perpetrator engages a solicitor, the solicitor goes up to the family court, then the police automatically drop the investigation into the sexual abuse regardless of the evidence, and they say we will leave the outcome of the matter up to the family court.
I think that what is more disturbing, or as disturbing, is that this community of Australia don't actually know that this is going on. That they would bet their bottom dollar that if their child and their own family disclosed that somebody was doing something awful to them, that they could simply go to the police and that child would be protected and justice would be done.
That's what we always think. And you go there, and all of a sudden you enter this Kafkaesque sort of bizarre situation where the police sort of go behind closed doors and start whispering to each other, and then they come back and say, no, we can't do anything for you.
And it's important for the public to know this, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, how devastated would the Morecambes even be knowing that they've gone around to every single school in Queensland encouraging children to disclose if somebody has done something bad to them, and then they go to the police and then nothing happens. The other question that I would ask is, if we actually told the public this was happening, would they even want to know? No.
Well, yes.
Yeah, I know.
No,
I have to say I agree.
look, when you look at the statistics...
Sorry. I am so lovely to see you. Anita, thank you.